Joined here with Ed Willis. Ed, here we are again. I'm not going to start counting the quarantine, but there may be a cat wander through the screen at some point or a dog barking in the background. So it's the world we live in at the moment. And speaking of that, we've spoken the last couple of days on the Olympics and the COC sort of making their own decision on the Olympics. It came official today, postponed until at least 2021, or so I should say summer 2021 is the deadline. You spoke to the COC doctor today, and he had some very interesting things to say.
Yeah, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Mike Wilkinson, who was the Canucks team doctor for quite a long time, and I'm really interested in these people who have a foot in both worlds. Dr. Doug Clement was another one who, are in athletics and also, medical people, because I think they give the most balanced view of this. And then they all seem to line up the same way that, look, you just can't screw around with this thing. There's no half measures. You can't negotiate with the pandemic. The strictest measures have to be taken. And I think Canada took a bit of a lead role in this. Followed by the Australians. I'm still surprised that no other countries came to their side, but I thought, the IOC spoke volumes with their decision today.
Absolutely. Look, just very interesting you use those terms. You can't negotiate with a pandemic, because that's not what we're hearing from the elected chief of the U.S., but we'll leave that there for now. However, I believe the American Olympic Committee was very concerned about this as well and wanted them to pull out after Canada before the official decision came in. One of the things that really struck me about a piece that you wrote for Tomorrow is that this came from the athletes. There were a lot of athletes who said as much as they wanted to participate, they didn't want to go.
Yeah, and you think who has the most at stake in this? And for me, it's the athletes, and I think they absolutely took a lead role in this, and I think they drove the agenda. And it was, from a lot of different corners, whether it was Matthew Pinsent, the great British rower, or our own Hayley Wickenheiser. There was athletes all over the world who spoke out about this, and the Olympics is very good about putting on the face that they really care about these things. I just think there was such a groundswell in this case that they understood they weren't going to be able to finesse this. They weren't going to be able to kick the can down the road and try and have it on their own terms. There was really only one decision to be made. And, quite frankly, given the speed at which things has happened, where we were on Friday versus where we are now, if you want to commend the IOC for anything, it's the speed at which they made this decision.
Yeah, absolutely. And we touched on this a little bit yesterday. Should things correct, and there's no doubt that there's going to be a ton of economic rubble in behind this, no matter how you like it or which political stripe you're from. We've seen the power of the Olympics to kind of unite and bring people together, and seen as this is not an act of terrorism that a handful of countries have suffered, or a certain tragic economic event or natural disaster that's only touched a part of the world. I see the Olympics could be quite a healing tool, if you will, for next year, because the whole world is literally suffering through this.
Yeah, and as much as I hate to go there with the IOC, and I've always said this in my years of covering the Olympics, there's kind of these two solitudes. One is the athletes and their dreams and what they represent, and I think people are all in for that. And then there's the IOC, which, quite frankly, isn't as sympathetic, which panders to the lowest common denominator in so many cases. But while you were talking there, I was thinking, boy, think of what the Athletes March is going to look like in 2021.
Yeah.
Think of what it means to invite people from all over the globe to this one place, to celebrate the best in youth and the best in sports. And I think it could be a very powerful thing. Yeah, absolutely.